Welcome to another edition of Slashing Up the Charts. I've got a little bit of a head cold today, so my voice probably sounds a little different. So I'm going to try this best I can, even with head cold. So if you hear me like cough every once in a while, clear my throat, it's that. So here we go. This weekend, not a whole lot happening. We've got Out of the Furnace being released in about 2,100 theaters, I think. And we've got Inside Llewyn Davis, which is in 4 theaters in LA and New York. I have to say, I want to see Inside Llewyn Davis very, very much, very much more over Out of the Furnace, which looks not like a bad flick, but kind of half and half. A little dark, but sometimes we have to embrace that darkness. And it's got Christian Bale and Forrest Whitaker, Casey Affleck, Woody Harrelson, Zoe Saldana. Great cast overall, but we'll see how it comes out. Not a whole lot of attentions for awards, though. So that's kind of its downfall. All right, before we begin this show, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Number one is I'm happy to announce that I'm going to expand a little bit. I am now going to start a new trend of videos, or a new, I should say, series of videos, and I call them Trailer Talk. I've been wanting to do this for a couple of months now. Every once in a while I'll see a trailer and I'll be like, man, there's so much good about it. Or, man, that was such an awful trailer, I gotta talk about it. Like, in context. So I'm gonna actually do my first one of those videos as soon as I finish this one. Because today the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer popped up. So I'm gonna say my piece on that. And that you'll see, hopefully a little bit more often than these once a week. Hopefully I'll get to that, whenever I see a new trailer. I'm not gonna do every single trailer that comes out, that would be impossible. But every big release, or every release, or a movie that just catches my eye and I happen to see the trailer and I like it or I don't like it, I'll definitely share my piece with it. The second note, of course, on a much darker note, I think everyone's aware of the passing of Paul Walker this previous weekend. I do have to say I have not seen a Fast and Furious movie all the way through, not one. But his loss is definitely a hard hit for everybody, for the fans, for the community around him, for his friends, for his family, for his co-stars in the movie, for his directors, and of course for that poor fellow who was with him, who was driving the car. And I do have to say, there's a lot we can learn from this, and there's a lot to grieve here. Even though I'm not his biggest fan, Paul Walker, I do have to say I at least knew who he was, and that's too bad. It really is. 40 years old is no way to go out that young. But still, he went out, and Fast and Furious 7, it's kind of been making the news this week. And so that's something to definitely consider and be very mindful of. And it's just an unfortunate deal, and I'm very, very sorry that it happened. I feel sorry. I didn't cause it. I'm not a terrorist here. I didn't say it. I'm not doing it. So, but I feel very sorry that it did happen. And my condolences go out to immediate family members, especially to the cast and crew of Fast 7 and all the other ones that Paul Walker was involved in, and even the ones he wasn't involved in. It's a big family. There's lots and lots of big stars and little stars, and even people who collect cars and share their cars on set. I think they all feel something very, very strong for this loss, and it's a terrible loss. And anyways, on top of that, he was also a very, very charitable actor, and by that I mean he shared with charity a lot. He might as well be this generation's Sean Connery. And yeah, he was very, very outgoing, very, 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 very nice guy. Can't say I know him personally. Can't say I know anybody personally in Hollywood. But I just got a Twitter account. I'm not going to share with you my name by any means, but if you have any intelligence, you know what it is. Either way, I do have to say, though, that I do feel for their loss, and I think it's a very, very unfortunate thing, a very unnecessary thing. Not to be a total hypocrite here, but He should have known. He should have known what he was doing. But you know, because from what I've heard, it was actually like a car accident that was like they were speeding. I've heard that. I've also heard that somebody else caused it, that the driver caused it, and that they both happened to pass away. But yeah, as soon as the official they said they ruled out drag racing, but I don't think that was never my first thought was that was how it happened. But yeah, it's just a bad deal, and it's horrible, and it makes me feel very bad to have to say it. But R.I.P. Paul Walker, we'll miss you. And Fast and Furious 7, in the meanwhile, they've halted production. I don't think it's going to meet its July release date for next year. Do you know what I think? I should suggest this to Universal. I should suggest a November or a late October release date. They struck gold a couple years ago with Fast 5. It opened the weekend before summer started, and it had, for a while, the biggest opening weekend that year. So I think if they strike gold again, they should release their next one 2014 probably, right there at right before the November start, or probably closer, probably maybe to somewhere in November. But I think even it doesn't have to be necessarily a summer movie for people to go out and see this. I think no matter what, you'll draw a crowd. And I did want to offer my opinion on whether or not they move forward with his character recast, cut out, if they just start from scratch. You know, it's a case-by-case thing when this happens in Hollywood. Usually, you know, they, like The Crow, there was the same ordeal, except the main star. Not to say that Paul Walker wasn't the main star, but he was definitely in like the top 5 stars of that whole franchise. With Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson undoubtedly coming in the top 2 spots. But yeah, I think it is a bad, horrible ordeal. Not just for the studio, because nobody cares about the studio. It's about the guy, and really though, I probably shouldn't even be giving the studio that much attention. But because the whole spotlight is on Paul Walker and his career. And I think a famous man quoted this. I don't know who, but it's not what you die for. You know, you don't get remembered for what you died, for how you died. It's for how you lived. I don't know if I just made that up or if I heard that somewhere, but I think that's the mantra that I think everybody should go with in their lives. I think, you know, it's not how you die, it's how you live, or how you lived, past tense. But so yeah, that's that, and that doesn't mean I'm not gonna go see Fast Furious 7. Doesn't mean I'm not going to. I'm just not on board with this franchise yet. But I think I'm gonna start catching up with this franchise now. Not just out of respect for Paul Walker, but just I've been keeping my eye on it the last couple of years, and especially with Fast 5 making a whole lot of money. Fast and Furious 6 making about as much, if not more money. It made more money. Yeah, you can't complain here. It's a booming franchise, and they took a massive hit. And it's unfortunate, and it's something I wanted to mention. So rest in peace, Paul Walker. We will not forget you. We will not forget you at all. Third piece, I just remember now. Because I've kind of been putting this in the back of my mind for 2 days now. A few months ago, they announced Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't know if I was doing the show then, but I wanted to comment on it. They announced that, I think it was in September, wasn't it? Or was it September or was it August? Because if it was August, I couldn't do it. If it was September, then maybe I did. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But I remember when they announced Ben Affleck as Batman, I was like, yes, this is great casting. He's going to lend a whole lot of expertise. You know, this is great. You know, I'm sure he's going to improve the script. He'll improve Zack Snyder, this next Superman movie, even though I hated, I didn't hate, but I disliked this last one, Man of Steel. This next one, it's got to be better. And then I found out they're putting Wonder Woman in. Yeah, they're putting Wonder Woman in, which really, you ask me, this is the wrong choice for 2 reasons. Number one, we don't want Wonder Woman yet. We want Wonder Woman to shine in her own movie. I think out of respect for the character in the comic books, you get her own damn movie. You don't shoehorn her in to something that people are already flocking to see. I mean, because they've announced Wonder Woman in this movie, that doesn't mean the ticket prices are going to soar up like $1 million just because she's there, or like $100 million or however $1 billion. No, I'm not a huge comic book geek by any means, but I know that her character a little bit about it. Since we haven't seen a major film adaptation, yeah, that's pretty much what I live and breathe by when it comes to comic books. But yeah, I don't think this is the way to do it. You don't introduce Wonder Woman by having her be a sideshow. That's almost putting the character and as a whole women in superhero films and superheroes who are women down. That's putting them down. This is almost sexist to suggest, oh no, Wonder Woman, she can't handle her own movie. Let's put her into this one where we have Batman and Superman. They're going to be fighting it out. Really? Really? That's your suggestion, Warner Brothers? This is incredibly sexist when you think about it. Really, really hard. And really, though, it's frustrating. It really is frustrating for me to have to say that they're introducing Wonder Woman in the movies as not a cameo, which as on its own front is not the best idea either. Not as her own movie, but in a supporting role in a movie where nobody is going to pay attention to her except when she's on screen. And even then, people will probably just blink a couple of times and say, oh look, that's Wonder Woman. Get back to action. Get back to Batman and Superman. Where'd they go? That's literally how it's going to go. Warner Brothers, you're making the wrong decisions now. Ben Affleck was a smart move, and it's like you took 3 steps forward. Now you're putting Wonder Woman in, you're taking 4 steps back. Okay, when I heard the rumors that came out just a couple weeks ago about Robin, I was going to comment on it as well, and then I said, no, Ben Affleck, Warner Brothers, Zack Snyder, all of them, they're too smart for this. They know that Robin didn't work. Even in The Dark Knight Rises, just the mere mentioning of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's alternate name as Robin, I have to say, I was surprised, and I was like, damn you, Christopher Nolan, how could you do that, How could you trick me into loving this character, and then it's Robin? What the hell? I was deep down I was angry, but at the same time I was completely flabbergasted. It never crossed my mind, ever. Well, okay, maybe once it did, but even then, I thought, oh no, not Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan never do that. He did. Son of a gun. Yeah, it happened. So that's that. What was the second? Oh yeah, because they really, the casting on this. I don't even remember the girl's name. I've read it nonstop for 2 days now, and I can't remember. I know her first name and her last name both start with a G. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's okay to do this. You know why? Because Christopher Reeve, when people put him in Superman movie, the first Superman, you know what happened? Everybody said, who the hell's that? Who's Christopher Reeve? They put in an unknown. But that's because they wanted him and Margot Kidder, at the same time, a very, very little known actress, if not unknown. And they said, well, we'll have Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman, two screen idols, towering over these guys, everybody thinks. But then we see this kind of from their story. They're those two who are, they're top listed, in the cast, and they're the two. They've got Oscars. They're impressive actors. They're going to be supporting characters, and these two are going to be the stars. These two unknowns. So that when we see them, against these other two figures and against all these fightings, when Superman's against the odds fighting against Lex Luthor and so on, we pay more attention. We pay more attention because it's not just who was it, like Paul Newman or somebody like that. We're like, oh, we know Paul Newman's okay. We know he's all right. This Christopher Reeve guy, we don't know. Is he okay? And so on and so forth. You do that and you think about that. And when Margot Kidder, when her character died at the end of the first movie, everybody was shocked. I'm sure comic book fans were about ready to stand up and just boo the movie. And yeah, even though that ending's a little silly, you gotta say that they handled it with class and they took risks. Warner Brothers, this is a different way to take a risk, and you took the wrong risk. You played black when you should have played red. Yeah, I just made that Vegas reference. Vegas being Las Vegas, the city, not the television show or whatever. But anyways, whatever, you know. Warner Bros. I think they're making the wrong decision with this, and this is not the way to go to continue this franchise. But I just had to say it. I just had to get it off my chest and put it out there in the world. YouTube, I hate that they're putting Wonder Woman in this, but you suckers, you still got me gonna go see the movie. No matter what happens. If they announce tomorrow that Robin is in the movie and he's played by Robin Williams or some crazy casting like that. What's his name? Chris Hunnam? No, Charlie Hunnam, that's right. I know it started with a C. That tells you how much I watch television, like Sons of Anarchy. Not at all. If they cast him as Robin, or what was the rumor going around? What's his face? The guy off the HBO series Girls, Adam Driver. I think that's his name. That sounds right, Adam Driver. That he was cast as Robin, and then he denied it, and I'm like, well, duh. Of course he's not Robin. If they announce that tomorrow, I'm still gonna go see the movie, but I'm just gonna try to walk in as best I can with an open mind. And even then, I'll still probably hold a slight grudge against it. But even then, who knows? This could actually be a stroke of brilliance, and maybe the screenplay is the film that's going to be the blockbuster superhero movie that finally pushes us to superheroes can win big-time Oscars. Or maybe it'll be a total flop. Who knows? But I'm just, I think, who was it? John Campea said it best. If you screw this up, DC and Warner Brothers, you're not going to be able to have a Batman, a Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, any of those DC characters in a film for a good 10, 20 years. DC will be dead. It'll be non-existent, wiped out, gone. You will have nothing if you screw this up big time. Like if you get if it turns out this got like a 19% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, if this is the Batman and Robin of our generation, DC might as well declare bankruptcy and sell to Marvel, because Marvel is going to dominate. So, on that note, we're about, probably 20 minutes in now? Something like that. I ranted for a while there, but I had to get some of this stuff off my chest. Feelings on Paul Walker and stuff like that. So yes, I am ready to begin the show. I still think this weekend we will see for one more weekend, because next weekend is going to be a totally different story. The Hunger Games Catching Fire. So my Star Trek closest to action t-shirt is the best I can do for now. I'm going to have to buy like an action, like a Die Hard shirt or something. Because I love Die Hard series, Lethal Weapon series. Why don't I own... Do I own a Raiders of the Lost Ark t-shirt or something? I own a poster, but I can't show you that because that's copyright. And I try to get money from this because I'm so poor. Oh, I'm so poor. I can't afford. Yeah, right. Whatever. So yeah. Now that I've completely distracted myself away again, let's start this, shall we? Out of the Furnace opens this weekend, and it's probably about this time last year we had Killing Them Softly disappoint with $6 million its opening weekend, placing, what was it, 5th? Something like that. I think Out of the Furnace will also reach 5th place for the weekend. Yeah, not the best showing for Christian Bale and his co-stars in the movie. But basically, Out of the Furnace, I've seen one trailer. I've seen quite a few TV spots, actually. They're advertising it very, very well. I've seen it appear on some lists of crouching up on the Best Picture and Academy Awards lists. The only one I think right now who has a semi-chance of getting nominated from this movie is probably either Woody Harrelson or Christian Bale. But Christian Bale is totally going to get recognition for American Hustle. The reviews started to come in, and the reviews are pointing to this being potentially a scene-stealing Oscar winner. Stealing the scene away from 12 Years a Slave and Gravity, which for me, that's the best news I can hope for. It did win New York Critics Film Circle Award. Isn't that their thing? New York Critics Film Circle Award, something like that. For Best Film, Jennifer Lawrence won for Supporting Actress. I think she's going to move up. And she could be the first person since Forrest Gump and Philadelphia's Tom Hanks to win 2 Oscars in a row. The other being Spencer Tracy, but that's ancient history now. That's like 80 years ago now, almost. And Spencer Tracy since then didn't win a damn thing since then. So Jennifer Lawrence, I think she's going to shine in this movie, absolutely. But until then, we've got Out of the Furnace, and I think the it's heading for a debut anywhere between $4 and $8 million. I don't think it can quite push it past that. Then again, in 2,000 theaters on a modest budget, I think $8 million would be a spectacular opening. That would be probably close enough actually for 4th, maybe 3rd place. But yeah, it's definitely not going to dominate the weekend. Then we've got Inside Llewyn Davis, which in 4 theaters is not going to crack in the top 10 whatsoever, as it expands throughout the month of December and into January when the real award season starts. Then maybe Inside Llewyn Davis will catch an audience. It's a Coen Brothers movie. It's got John Goodman. It's got F. Murray Abraham. It's got Carey Mulligan. Oscar Davis is also in there, and Justin Timberlake. So it's a good cast overall. And Coen Brothers, of course, they're gonna direct it very, very well. So my interest in that film is very high, and I'll definitely be seeing that sometime. All right, I'll come back here in a second with the top 10. All right, looking at the top 10 this weekend, a lot of people are going to be eyeing whether Hunger Games or Frozen is the #1 spot. I think we're going to see Hunger Games, but I think it's going to be very, very close, as in like less than $1 million close. This could be excruciatingly close, but I do think Hunger Games is going to catch fire for one more weekend before The Hobbit opens. So with that in mind, I think, yep, that's how that's going to go. And then we've got Frozen coming in second, both with about 35 or so million, something like that. Let's see, for the third spot, I think we're looking at repeat for Thor: The Dark World in third. We could also see Delivery Man crop up closer to third, or maybe Best Man Holiday will catch on a little bit, or will drop off a little less. But I think, yeah, those 3 films will crop up for third, fourth, and fifth. In the sixth spot, I think, or in the fifth spot, Out of the Furnace. In the sixth spot would then be either Delivery Man or Best Man Holiday, or potentially Thor: The Dark World. But I think it's probably going to be Best Man Holiday in sixth, Delivery Man in fourth, Thor in third. For the seventh spot, I think we're looking at Homeland. Did not so great business over Thanksgiving weekend, but it's still making about $10 million in the first about week or so. So that's not nothing to sneeze at, especially for a film that's only in 2,000 whatever theaters. And then eighth spot. Okay, this is where we're starting to get into the darker territory that's kind of harder to predict. Not going to see Black Nativity, certainly not. The Book Thief could be there. Also could be, what was the one? Not Freebirds. I predicted Freebirds in the top 10. That dropped like crazy this last weekend, so we're not going to put that in the top 10 again. Dallas Buyers Club could pop in there for another weekend in the top 10. I think it was at top 10 a couple weeks ago. Something like that, yeah. Gravity was in the 10th spot last weekend. I don't think it's going to be there for any more. But let's see, what does that leave? That leaves Las Vegas potentially with a spot in there. And About Time, I don't think that's going to be in the top 10. Thinking through the list here. I'm doing horrible now anyways at this, nowadays at this top 10 business. Usually I'm thought out, I'm prepared, but the last couple of weeks I've been rushing to do this, so I didn't have time to sit down and think it through. I'm trying to think, what else? I can't think of nothing else, guys. That's about it. Because yeah, Freebirds is out. Definitely Ender's Game is out. So yeah, I think that's how it's going to go. 10. Let's see, where were we at? Number 9 was probably going to be Dallas Buyers Club. Number 10, About Time. Maybe. Maybe we could see Black Nativity hang on. Or not hang on, but go up a little bit. I think Gravity is out of the top 10. yeah, about time out of the top 10. So that's how that's gonna go. All right, I think I'm about done here. I try not to make these endings very long because that's what I think when these videos really drag on, when I go on a rant at the end. So let's try to keep this short. This Saturday, I'm actually planning on seeing a triple feature, tentatively planning, weather permitting, and if I'm feeling better, this head cold I think is going to bring me down the next day. Tomorrow, Friday, I think it's going to be kind of overbearing for me, so I might just stay in bed after Friday night and just stay in bed for Saturday, or at least do very little. But anyways, the plan was I would see 3 movies that are in limited or semi-limited release. 12 Years a Slave is one of those that I'd see that probably late morning. Then mid-afternoon I'd see Nebraska, and then about later afternoon toward the start of the evening hours, Dallas Buyers Club. So again, that's tentative planning. You could see 3 reviews pop up. Let's see. Before I upload anything else, I'm going to try to finish this Oscar video because this Oscars at a Glance business, I think I'm due for another video here within the next week or so. So I'm going to try to get that uploaded. If not, then we'll just scratch that and we'll start here because things have changed since I did that video. We've got all sorts of different changes with different spots, and now, certain websites I check out for predictions are that, that let me know if I'm out to lunch or if I'm right on. They're saying different stuff, and, this person who was ranked first is now ranked 5th or not even going to be nominated anymore according to them, and so on. So it's a crazy little game that I get to play every once in a while to try to, figure out what's going on. So until then, try to get that. I've also got Hunger Games review ready. I just need to upload it, and I think after that I'm caught up. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this weekend. Look for Hunger Games to repeat #1 for one last time before The Hobbit dominates next weekend. Till next weekend, adieu.